Hi guys. Okay, so we have so much to go over. Um, Yesterday, I literally, from the moment I woke up to the moment I fell asleep, I finished reading Spirit Hacking by Shaman Durek. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I had read a Google preview of this, and then I was like, this is so good, I have to get it. This is the book. I don't remember how I came across this book. I think I had seen it on Amazon. Like, I just came across it. Or I don't remember. Like, I really don't know how I came across it. Like, no one was reading this. So, or I mean, like, I didn't see anyone reading this, so that's not where I got it from. But I don't remember where I got it from, but I was, like, so drawn to read it. And I've been drawn to read it for a couple months now. And I finally pulled the trigger, and I loved it. It was so, so good. I know I've been posting so much, like, fictional story reviews, fictional book reviews, but, like, don't fret. I have been on my spiritual journey still. So I watch like videos on Gaia and stuff like that. But this one, I really couldn't tell you how I found this. Like, I really actually forgot. I don't know how, but it's really, really good. This is Shamanic Keys to Reclaim Your Personal Power, Transform Yourself, and Light Up the World. Okay, so it's gonna be a long video. And I didn't even bring my water. Wow. Because I'm gonna need water from how much I'm gonna be talking. So as I do with all long videos like this, I have my notes. So these are my notes. And it's not really notes, it's just key points from the book. But even though I'm gonna go over a lot of stuff with you, you should still read the book. Like, it's so, so good. So I'm not trying to do it a disservice by telling you the entire book. You have to go read it and buy it. Okay. So I'm literally reading verbatim from the book because these points are so good. And the reason I share these is because everyone needs to know this shit. Okay. So we have to understand that everything we're experiencing in our here and now reality is a manifestation of the energies we're holding on to inside ourselves, and that anything we're uncomfortable or displeased with in the world is a reflection of us to take a long, hard look at ourselves and to acknowledge all the stuff we have been denying and avoiding and stuffing under the rug and pretending isn't broken or distorted or happening on any level whatsoever. The blackout is demanding that we, as individuals as well as a collective, face the things that we've been running from. This is why we're experiencing so much discord on the planet. The blackout is creating a magnetic energy stream that is pulling everything we've been shoving under our rugs to the surface for us to examine so we can put it back into balance. This is why we are witnessing so many polarizing leaders stepping into high-profile sociopolitical positions and getting people so riled up. Shamans call these figures the great agitators. The great agitators serve a very valuable function in reflecting back to us the things inside ourselves that we don't want to look at and all the shit we need to deal with to get back into alignment. People get confused and project their anger and their issues onto the great agitators themselves, when in reality, it's just their hurt that they haven't worked through yet. The great agitators are a gift from spirit, sent to assist us in our evolution. On some level, we all know that something's gotta give. The consciousness of this knowledge is the blackout. It is the understanding that we must shift the old to bring our world back into alignment so that new forms and new structures can emerge. This means that everything that has not been created or transformed through the lens of love and the lens of harmony and the lens of balance for all humanity, as well as for every other plant and animal species on the planet, is surfacing so that we can get a clear look at the choices that have led us to this collective experience so that we can restructure our world from a place of love. Human progress has been pushed forward at a breakneck pace in a drive for power, a domination and achievement that has served the interests of individual nations and corporations far more than it has served the species as a whole. Until now, technological advancement has been driven by consciousness of competition, by the desire to innovate first, best, biggest, and fastest. This strategy has divided people across artificial boundaries while creating technologies that destroy life. It's like the Manhattan Project got America props for creating the first nuclear bomb. Great, that's quite an achievement in terms of innovation and engineering. But maybe we should have engaged a little discernment and asked ourselves if this was the kind of technology we actually want on our planet in the first place, and checked in to make sure it was going to serve the good of mankind before going about producing mass atomic bombs for profit. A lot of new age love and light types like to pretend that there's no such thing as darkness. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. It doesn't matter how holy you claim to be or how powerful you think you are, or how many times you chant Ganesha's name while fingering your mala beads and staring at your third eye. If you've incarnated on planet Earth, you're dealing with darkness on some level or another. One of the most mind-blowing things the spirits showed me when I died was the incredible array of multidimensional realities comprising the earth plane. And when I say incredible array of multidimensional realities, I'm not talking like 100 or 1,000. I'm talking about millions, billions, and zillions of different earthly realities that all exist simultaneously now. People have a hard time wrapping their heads around that one, which I get if you haven't flatlined and had the spirit spell it out for you while your spirit left your body and soared throughout the cosmos for what felt like an eternity. Still, that's what it means to live in a quantum reality. We're in every possibility you can imagine and about 1,000,000 billion more that you cannot, or rather haven't yet, all exist on their own dimensional plane. Darkness is one of these possibilities that exists. The darkness is a very real dimensional realm that thrives on fear, lack, and separation. Darkness is prevalent in this particular region of the cosmos because this part of the galaxy happens to contain dark matter. Just like Arizona has cacti and Switzerland has mountains and Antarctica has glaciers, the Milky Way has dark matter. Lots of it. Dark matter is an extremely dense energy frequency held within an extremely dense form. Human beings experience darkness that it generates like a void or a black hole. When a being's consciousness gets sucked into that black hole, it synchronizes with the frequencies of the darkness. These frequencies affect our entire reality through our thoughts, words, and actions, which are manipulated by the darkness to generate even more darkness. Okay, now let's talk about the Matrix. So the Matrix exists to make you forget that you are a quantum creator by keeping you operating in survival mode and making you a slave to the system which sustains itself by stifling your life force and dumbing you down, pumping you up with sugar, jacking up on caffeine, dulling you down with fluoride, poisoning your body with pills, programming your consciousness with fear and lies and celebrity gossip, and whacking you so far out that you don't even notice when things are in balance and out of alignment, kind of like our planet right now. I call it being a bobblehead, which means acting like a sheep. Because once your brain has been hijacked by the darkness, you become more concerned with following the herd and being like everyone else than with thinking for yourself, let alone with living life as a quantum creator. So darkness is light distorted through consciousness. Distorted, fragmented, and seemingly separate though it is, darkness is still light. Our purpose here on earth is to bring these fragmented aspects of duality, back into wholeness. We are here to bring the darkness home. When we incarnate, we agree to allow darkness into our beings so that we can understand it and learn from it. This relationship allows us to cultivate the ability to meet the darkness with love, which is what ultimately allows the darkness to be redeemed and to return home to the light. The darkness is smart. It knows that women carry the life code and that women are wired to honor and protect life. The ancient Egyptians knew this as well, which is why the Ankh is featured so prominently in their mythology. The symbol, which looks a lot like the whole birth canal situation, represents eternal life because women are life givers. Women are the ones who continue to bring life to this planet. Generation after generation after generation, women's wombs are imprinted with the life code inside them, meaning that the walls of a woman's uterus are literally encoded with geometric symbols, the Ankh included, which act as portals and sensory mechanisms that attune women to the balance and well-being of life on the planet. Every human being on the planet has a unique energetic signature that connects them to specific energies and frequencies that are meant to support them on their path. Our signatures determine things like whether we are aligned to live in the city or in nature, or if we do best working in solitude or outside, or in an office with other people, or if we're inspired by creative pursuits or over academic ones. If someone is meant to work with their hands in nature, but instead they're hustling on Wall Street, they are going to suffer because they are making choices that are not aligned with their signature. When we are aligned with our signatures, we connect with people and opportunities and experiences that are harmonic and supportive. Guys, just so you know, I'm like bouncing off a million different paragraphs, so it's all going to sound like one blurb. So just bear with me and just try to figure it out. I don't want to be stopping every single time and being like, this is a new point, this is a new point, this is a new point. Like, it's just dumb. Like, you can figure it out. So I'm going to keep going. I do shamanic work with a bunch of millionaires and billionaires. You'd be surprised to know how many of them are miserable. These people have spent their entire lives out of alignment with their energetic signatures and with their soul's true purpose, accumulating all the things the system told them would make them happy and whole and successful and worthy and lovable. They now have everything they've ever dreamed of and all this external validation, and they're still empty. It's very confusing for these people because they can fly anywhere in the world, they can do anything they want to do whenever they want to do it, which means they can't blame their misery on money problems the way everyone else does. Their despair comes from knowing that they let the system take from them the thing that matters most, themselves. The dream that we are indoctrinated with isn't just about money or fame. It's about the spouse, the house, the family, the success, the car, the watch, the wardrobe, and whatever other external things the system tells us we need to accumulate to be somebody and to matter. It's all bullshit. You don't have to achieve anything to matter. You matter because you are. Your presence and your purpose and your breath are sacred. You don't need to chant mantras and wash lepers' feet or marry a surgeon or win a Nobel Prize or a Grammy to be sacred and to be worthy and to matter. God's will is for you to be happy, to be free, to be easy, to have love, to have joy, to have prosperity, and to have good health, to have everything you could have possibly want. And there is nothing you have to do or achieve to earn the right to have these experiences. But the Matrix doesn't want you to know this. Because if we knew ourselves as whole and as worthy of unconditional love and acceptance and ease, of joy and health and prosperity and fulfillment, exactly as we are right now, then we wouldn't yearn for all the things the system needs us to yearn for to keep it running. The system enslaves us through our desires by manipulating the mind to believe that something is missing. Desire is a sham. The Matrix uses desire to lure us into chasing external things that promise to quell the yearning that it is manipulating, which is impossible. The dissonance the setup generates in human beings is what drives the system. Because the more lack we see in ourselves, the more desire we generate, and the more external things we chase and consume in our efforts to quell the incessant longing the darkness has programmed in us. Entertainment is the Matrix's #1 method of hypnotizing humanity, which is why actors make so much money. Playing make-believe might not seem like that important of a job in the grand scheme of how society functions, but when it comes to distracting the populace such that they will be so enchanted with the glamour that they continue to feed the Matrix, entertainers turn out to be among the most important players in the game. The problem is that when we are driven by the idea of being admired by everyone, we become a slave to those everyones. So what do? For starters, we don't fight. We don't smash the Matrix. We don't fight the Matrix. We don't try to convince that it needs to be kinder or gentler or different. We become aware of the Matrix and of how the Matrix is affecting our lives. And then we just make the Matrix work for us. Most human beings think God is some bearded guy on a cloud who rewards the good and punishes the bad, just like Santa Claus minus the reindeer and the elves. But that's not what God is, not by any stretch of the imagination. God is that little child inside you, that little girl or that little boy who exists inside each and every one of us as pure innocence and unconditional love. That child is your soul. And the soul that I have inside me is the same soul that you have inside you, because there is but one God, despite God's many forms. The soul expresses through your individual form as you, just as the soul expresses through my individual form as me. Our unique forms allow my soul to express differently and to play out its incarnation differently. But at its most fundamental level, it is the same soul. When we speak about ourselves in cruel, defamatory ways, we are directing our words to that innocent child who lives inside us. There is no difference between saying those words to a small child who is sitting right in front of our face and saying them about ourselves. Just because you can't see the child inside you doesn't mean that child isn't there, and it certainly doesn't mean your words are harmless. Your very word is being registered by your little child inside you. Imagine what people would think if they saw you telling a 5-year-old that he was stupid or that she was ugly or that she ruined everything or that you hate his guts, and imagine how those words would affect that child. This is exactly what your words are doing to your child inside you. We are far more than simple 2-legged mammals biting the illusion of linear time on a spinning rock. We are quantum creators living in a multidimensional reality of infinite possibility. Every time we open our mouths to speak or touch a screen to type or fire a neuron to think, we are either creating or destroying. And like I always say, you're either a tap or a drain. Words are powerful, powerful tools of creation. When we speak, we align our words with our will, which fuels those words into form. The act of thinking and the act of speaking are creative acts because our words function as a magic wand that God has given us to wield our will into the world. God creates based on our words, taking each and every one as instructions as to how we want our realities to shape themselves. Every word we speak is a seed of creation, without exception. People have God so wrong. They think God is occupied judging and counting sins and tracking how many times We've said his name in vain and then sending scourges to punish us. All God does is listen to what we say and listen to what we think and then manifests our words into form. God is occupied only with creating. The Matrix has a vested interest in our self-hatred because if we loved ourselves, then there would be no internal void. There would be nothing to entice us to look outside of ourselves for love, and nothing for us to achieve to earn love from others, and nothing for us to buy to impress others, and the whole system would basically screech to a halt. But the darkness can't have that, which is why the Matrix is constructed to keep humans from loving themselves. People who are not conscious of their words cure themselves not cure themselves. People who are not conscious of their words curse themselves all day long and craft lives for themselves that they don't really like by saying such things as, I'm so bad with money. Okay, so Spirit says, got it. I'll keep those financial troubles coming. There are no single guys. Spirit says, cool. You love being alone? No available men for you. This is going to be really hard. Spirit says, gotcha. Let's make this endeavor extra challenging then. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Spirit says, you want to be in limbo? Great, limbo it is. When we speak, the frequencies of the words reverberate from our mouths, unlocking the codes embedded therein. So when we say life is hard, we are activating the coding that corresponds to the word hard. Those frequencies are then projected out into the universe where they link up with everything else that is vibrating at the frequency of hard. And then the ego goes about organizing our reality to affirm this statement and to make sure our life is full of difficult experiences so that we can be right. If you didn't catch that, rewind it and keep re-watching that until you understand it. Also, money is not evil. Money is just energy. And because money is a construct of the matrix we happen to be living in, thriving in abundant prosperity is a brilliant way to make the matrix work for us. Money is the energy of exchange. Currency is how that energy manifests in physical form. Abundance is the accumulation of currency or of anything really. And prosperity is the flow of the exchange. Just like the current of a river, currency likes to move. Prosperity means that money is doing what it's supposed to be doing by moving through the community and enriching people's lives accordingly. Money is a wonderful energy, you guys, because money allows us to do things and to have experiences and to give to others and to just live the way that we want to choose to live instead of scraping to get by and think we have to live in just survival mode. No one wants to live like that. The spirits need fear to survive. They cannot feed on light because light is pure love. So the spirits infiltrate the minds of the people here on earth and corrupt them with fear and lack and doubt and separation and whatever other unresolved stuff the spirits attached to us need to work through. This is why people are in lack, and this is why people are in fear. And this is why people play small, because they listen to the negative thoughts the spirits are generating in their heads, and they buy into them and give their power away to them. Most humans are afraid of aligning themselves with the light because it means accepting our responsibility as creators. Humans already feel so much survival pressure from the stress of bills, bureaucracy, insurance premiums, kids, credit card debt, mortgages, cholesterol levels, all of it. The survival program the Matrix imposes saps a lot of energy that could be put into focusing on who we are and on what we want to create. But because most humans are struggling with so many have-tos, they don't have the bandwidth to even deal with creating new realities. So the idea of having some kind of creative power just becomes overwhelming because we can't come into that power unless we know our true selves. And to know our true selves would mean to have the time and the energy and the support to learn about our true selves and to develop our true selves inside a system that does everything it can to dissuade us from knowing our true selves. Also, unresolved trauma is a magnet for spirits. The trauma itself resonates at a frequency that attracts spirits whose own unresolved issues are a vibrational match and who will then guide our life events to affirm the trauma and the beliefs it creates. Sorry if it's unsettling that I'm like smiling and just like shaking my head to this stuff. It's because the more I absorb it, you guys, it's just like, this makes so much sense. And it's just like, you just shaking your head and just like displeased or like in dissatisfaction, it's just like, no wonder. It's just everything I learned in this book just has me saying like, no wonder, like no wonder. So sorry if I'm like smiling or just if that's unsettling to you. It's just because I'm remembering how much dissatisfaction this caused me, and like, no wonder, like that's just my reaction. So bear with me. So if there's an underlying trauma that is creating the unconscious belief that says, I want to be angry at the world, then I need reasons to be angry at the world so that I can give myself permission to be angry at the world. That trauma will then go about magnetizing a spirit from the underworld to connect me with people who betray me, events that piss me off, while whispering in my ear about how infuriating everything is so that I will have plenty of reasons to be angry at the world. Trauma is trapped energy that has not been properly released from the physical or emotional body. The mind holds on to the energy because it is waiting for something to meet the trauma with love and to tell it that it's going to be okay. Trauma is a portal to emotions from our past that are trying to get our attention so that we can acknowledge them and embrace them and just move forward. But when people don't step through that portal and don't acknowledge or embrace those trapped energies themselves, but instead wait for some imaginary savior to come do it for them, the energies calcify in your body and create a belief that says that something went wrong and that it could happen again, which distorts future decisions while skizzing out the nervous system and programming reality accordingly. You can't claim to be, oh, I'm too close. You can't claim to be all about love and light if you can't stand in the face of darkness. Light consciousness is not swayed by underworld spirits or by negative emotions or by any perceived lack of love. Light consciousness is the consciousness that loves infinitely, in constant form, unconditionally, and without expiration dates. The light does not run from darkness. The light does not yield to duality. And the light does not give in to the lie of separation. The light holds its position and keeps holding its position until the darkness taps out and surrenders and harmonizes its vibration to the only truth that there is, light. I'm not going to read the dream, you guys, but you have to read page 156 through, not 156, 165 through 167. It's so good. I literally cried, but I literally have so much to cover with you that I can't. The vast majority of Hollywood movies indoctrinate people into thinking that those who suffer the most and endure the great. I don't want to read that. I feel like you guys know this already. I don't want to read that either. Ooh, this one's a good one. Okay. No one is born being afraid of the dark. The dark is where we find our gifts and our power. We are programmed to be afraid of the dark. Think back to your childhood. Were you afraid of the dark? Did you let your feet hang over the edge of the bed? Did you take a gigantic leap from the doorway to your bed so that whatever was waiting underneath to grab your ankles couldn't catch you? Has it ever struck you as odd that every human alive has a version of the same childhood experience? People are afraid of the dark because when we were kids, the smoke spirits came into our rooms at night and programmed us with fear. I don't know who he's talking about, smoke spirits, but the smoke spirits, oh, let me lower this. The smoke spirits represent a defining point in everyone's life when they become afraid of the dark and therefore the unknown. Smoke spirits are invisible operatives sent by the darkness to monitor humans' fears and to play upon them so that they can feed the beings in the underworld while deterring us from venturing into the unknown, which is where our power lies. The smoke spirits take on the shapes and forms that have been programmed into our consciousness and present themselves as such to instill children with fear of the night and fear of the dark and fear of the unknown before heading back to the dark realm to share the intel they collected from our dimension. If you want liberation, go to the unknown. The unknown holds the keys to our healing and the keys to our evolution. The unknown holds the keys to our full potential and the keys to all the ways we are meant to thrive. And to become superhuman. Hold on. The unknown holds the keys to every solution, to every global threat the species is facing. Basically, the unknown is the shit. As a child who was exposed to the same programming as all of us, I too was visited by the smoke spirits in my room at night, and I too was indoctrinated to be afraid of the dark. But at a certain point, I could feel the pull of something waiting for me in all that blackness, something powerful and profound that I did not understand. I grew tired of my fear and I decided to face that monster hiding under the bed and to step into the unknown. And that's where I discovered my light and my strength and my power. That's where I discovered myself. It's so ridiculous that we send billions of dollars to fund space missions. That technology is never going to connect with any of the life that's out there because we are the ones who built that technology, which means that technology is as limited as we are. Fair point, honestly, right? Like, didn't you think of that? Like, if you really think about that, that's actually very genius, what he said. Okay, when we grow, not only do we evolve ourselves as individuals, but we also evolve our entire family bloodline. You see, you are not here just for you. You are here to be of service to your ancestors, to those who walked before you, and to those who will someday join you, because you all exist in the quantum now, which means your efforts, your love, and your evolution serve the entire fractal line. Just like the issues coded in our RNA, spirits get passed through the bloodline too. So spirits are passed down through beliefs. When parents indoctrinate the children with the beliefs that formulate their worldview, they are simultaneously passing the spirits attached to those beliefs to their children. So let's say someone's great grandmother had money issues that she didn't examine or heal while she was alive. The spirit that was attached to those money issues was passed down through the bloodline, through the belief she taught her children about money and abundance. Every time she told her children money doesn't grow on trees, or money is the root of all evil, or you have to work hard just to make ends meet, but even then, you'll still be poor, she was transferring that spirit into their fields of consciousness. So stop it. And so that spirit keeps getting passed down through the generations, polluting one mind after the next with scarcity, lack, limiting beliefs about money, until you have all these fractal lines and all these familial tributaries where no one pays retail or turns on the heat or splurges on dryer sheets or asparagus, and everyone is programmed with the same limiting belief that money is hard to come by and that pure rich people suck because their great grandmother's scarcity spirit is working through all of them. Rationalism gave way to this ridiculous notion that when people die, they are gone forever, which is complete and utter nonsense. Death does not mean that we cease to exist. Death just means that we cease to exist in this biological spacesuit, in this dimensional plane of reality. But because we have been programmed to believe that death is some sort of final nothingness, people just assume that their ancestors disappeared altogether and have gone about forgetting them. And let me tell you, humans took a wrong turn when we stopped trusting that our ancestors are still with us. Hold on, I need to position myself again, you guys. Literally what's holding the camera is my books. Okay, this one's very interesting. When we have a lot of casual sex and we have a lot of disconnected sex, we attract underworld entities called sexual succubi. The sexual succubus is a spirit that attaches to a person's energetic field with these suction-like appendages and that uses them as a feeding vessel by way of all the darkness and energetic distortions they take into their being through misaligned sexual encounters. These succubi attach to the sexual glands while infecting the mind of the host with guilt and shame and attracting darkness in our lower chakras where it accumulates, thereby generating more guilt and more shame with every sexual act. These emotions, which are tools of the darkness, signal the subconscious mind to manifest disease and illness because we feel like we should be punished. The sexual succubus is the origin point for all sexually transmitted diseases, and the only reason sexual pathogens even exist on this planet is because religion teaches us that God punishes sinners, which programs people to believe that A, God punishes, and that B, it's actually possible for us to do something that would make us deserving of punishment, as though God is anything but perpetual, constant, ever-loving, never-ceasing, infinite, unconditional love and acceptance for each and every one of us every single second of every single day for all of eternity. Needless to say, these suppositions are false, and it is high time that we freed ourselves from their detriment once and for all. And then there's also a practice on page 257 that's important for people to do. I forgot what it was, I just wrote down. Also, allopathic doctors consider only a very narrow array of factors when it comes to the causes they attribute to disease, like they blame most cancer on genes. But just because genetic codes are passed down doesn't mean they have to be activated. We all carry lots of ancestral coding that never gets activated in our lifetimes. Genetic codes are activated by certain markers like emotional stress, emotional toxicity, environmental pollution, mental discord, etc. These markers are what cause the cells to morph and are what create the toxic internal environment in which these cells can multiply, turn into tumors, and grow and grow and grow. It doesn't matter what kind of hyper, extra, uber, super strength, allopathic cancer killer you attack that tumor with. If you don't shift the internal environment, And the only way to shift the internal environment is to adjust the markers and to adjust the root. From a shamanic perspective, the root can be anything, including the words people tell themselves, the house they live in, or the people they hang out with. It could be their job, their partner, or their tendency to people please and give their power away. Or it could be that they hate their life and they hate themselves. But because they can't be honest about it, that's how you create disease, because they don't want to be here anymore. This is actually really common, that people get sick as a quick fix and an easy way out of this reality construct. People would rather get sick than admit the truth, which is, I don't really want to be alive. The conscious mind just cannot process this level of truth, just as most humans can't handle hearing this level of truth coming out of the mouth of a friend or family member. So the conscious mind denies the truth, while the subconscious mind turns it into an incurable disease. You didn't hear from me, guys. It's from the book. Okay? Just from the book. Pain is the body's way of communicating that there is an imbalance of energy in the body. The body has probably been trying to communicate the imbalance for a while in softer, subtler ways. But because most people's synthesis is weak, they are not able to perceive the body's signals, which means that the body has to communicate louder and louder and louder just to get their attention. That's when the body starts bringing pain into the mix, so that it can finally get you to stop ignoring it. Genetic tinkering is straight up arrogant, ignorant idiocy. There's really no way around it. When humans genetically modify food and crops and people, they are creating genetic markers that differ from nature's original design and from nature's own coding system. Nature knows its own codes, because nature is intelligent technology that humans really need to stop fucking with. When we genetically modify anything, we change the atoms, we change the molecules, and we obliterate the synthesis. If I try to eat a genetically modified strawberry, the second that strawberry hits my tongue, my body is going to be confused. What the fuck is this? The body asks. This isn't the networking system that's supposed to go with my networking system. The berry's coding is off. The frequencies of the body's digestive enzymes are no longer a coherent match for the frequencies of the sugar in the fruit, which are no longer alchemically proportional with the fiber content. And so, because the body doesn't recognize this hodgepodge configuration of data and input, the networking systems don't boot up together. This creates all kinds of problems for the various processing systems, which aren't designed to handle these patterns of information. And this is how things get really out of whack. We've all just gotten so used to whatever it is that we've gotten used to that we don't want to have to go through the hassle of getting unused to it. So we fight for the right not to change, and we fight for the right not to grow. But instead of being honest about our stubbornness and our stuckness, we look for rationalizations and proof points that we can wield to make the people who believe differently than we do the villains, and to victimize ourselves in the face of their attempts at progress. This is my last point. A lot of humans hug wrong. They pat the other person on the back instead of embracing them. It's the exact opposite gesture, because when we pat someone on the back, we're actually telling them that we're not available to connect. It's disingenuous. Not only that, but it breaks up the electromagnetic synthesis in the body. And so the feelings of peace and safety that would otherwise be generated from an act of true connection become fragmented and fearful. A lot of men hug like this because we're indoctrinated to misinterpret affection as weakness. It's such a damaging program, because it robs men in our culture of the chance to connect with their brotherhood. So men pound each other on the backs to prove that they're manly and to prove they're not gay, thereby depriving themselves and each other of the chance to connect through physical form and energetic synthesis that could otherwise be radiating positive vibrations between them and then out into the field. Guys, that was my spiel on spirit hacking by Shaman Durek. I don't really know what this symbol means. I found it on, like, what I did was I took a photo of this. No, what I did was I took, so it's kind of like a long book. So it's like longer than most books, like the length of the book. I mean, it was like 301 pages. But what I'm talking about is like the symbol. So I just went on Google Lens and I took a photo of the symbol and I tried to see what came out. I already forgot what he calls the symbol, but I think he made it up. I think, I don't know if he made it up or not, but it was like on an Instagram post that he was tagged in. But I couldn't really figure out what it means, but it's in like every single chapter. But I think it's like a shamanic energetic code, like a sacred geometry code, or like a rune, or like a sigil. I don't know. But that's this book, and that's how that looks. I received it damaged from Amazon, but I literally don't have the energy to, that's the author. I literally don't have the energy to like exchange it for a better copy, like whatever. And then the bottom looks like, oh no. Wait, what happened to that? That thing disappeared. So weird. Okay, so that was spirit hacking, and let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know if this video like made you feel better or made you feel awake, like literally like everything that I just said like made you wake up. And let me know if you've read this before and what you think about it. I think it was really good to start off the year with something like this because it like, I don't know, it just like kind of cleared my mind. I'm already aware of like all of this stuff, but it just like was, a lot of it was said in different words that I really appreciate and I really enjoyed. And I know I promised that The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is going to be the first book that I read for the year, but who cares, okay? Who cares that I read Light Lark and then Spirit Hacking before this? I'm still like on the 9th day of January. So guess who started reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue today? So I started reading this today and I'm already like 65 pages in. It's not a competition, it's not a race, but that is just my progress to give you an update. I'm literally so obsessed with this cover. And the story is still so good as much as I hate third person. The story is very, very good so far. I don't know how fast I'm going to read this. It's not even a priority of mine to read it fast. I do want to enjoy the story, but I'm not going to get it done this weekend. It's probably going to be like in another week and a half or like another 2 weeks because there are a lot of words in the pages. There's a lot of words in the pages and the book is kind of long. So there's more words than normal that I normally read. So it's going to take me a little longer than that because my weekend is over today. So I'm not really going to have time. Maybe, but I probably won't have time to read it throughout the week. But just wanted to give you guys an update on this little gem of mine. And I recommend everybody read this book. Like, buy it. It's literally like $11 on Amazon, I think it was. So you have to buy it. It's really, really good. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't mention in a lot of his personal stories that were really, really eye-opening. Those are like my favorite now. Like I've learned to love like personal stories where like the teachings and the practices, he gives you daily practices too. Well, not daily ones, but like practices you can do on your own. Like energy work, like literally do it. I literally did all of them. And just like the real life situations that he mentions are so wild, and it's amazing that this stuff is real. So go check it out. And that was my video on spirit hacking by Shaman Durek.